Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and it's time for part 2 of the Q&A, so let's go ahead and get this started. Alright, first question. What builds more chest development, weighted dips or bench press? Well, you guys know my stance on these sort of arguments, and people want reductionist answers. They want me to pick one. Well, I think that these are different exercises for different programming goals. That's what I think. So which one gives more chest development? I don't know. Which one can you load better and do more total workload on or recover from? They both utilize the pecs as a primary mover if done correctly. Now, more nuanced answer would be, you know what, I think for novice lifters, I think the bench press is overall better for just upper body development than the dip. Why? Because it's easier to load. It's easier to load and get your range of motion standardized. In other words, it has a very, very specific terminal range of motion. It makes progression and tracking progressive overload easier. It's also easier to not deal with weight fluctuations in determining your progressive overload. Novice lifters don't want to try to hit the exact same identical range of motion on every rep and film it to find that. They don't want to weigh on a scale and then use microplates if they changed 2 pounds since the last time they did the lift. Right? They're not interested in doing that. They just need to get stronger. Progressive overload used as a primary exercise is just more annoying and more difficult with the dip. I would rather have a novice lifter just focus on the weight on the bar so that they can control overload and use an exercise that has a very clear and defined start and stop of the rep, so that again we can track progress and we can use overload to do that better. Now, that being said, sometimes for a more advanced lifter with a lagging chest who's already doing heavy benching, the weighted dip might be a better exercise for their extra volume. It might be a better supplemental lift. And the weighted dip is harder to utilize sometimes for max work. It really is. It's just not as safe. Got other issues. But if you're going to use it maybe as a secondary exercise, works really well. Right? You can do a lot of volume on a dip or even a body weight dip. Right? If you need a secondary movement, I think it's very effective for a lot of people. In fact, I prescribe it to clients. I sometimes do them. So if we're struggling to get enough workload to continue to get chest development off bench pressing, or we're doing a lot of heavy benching, and we need another exercise to get more pectoral development, well, in that case, the dip wins, doesn't it? So I think it runs into a case of what do you need more of right now in your training, primary exercises or accessory exercises. I think the bench press makes a better primary movement, and I think the weighted dip, or even the bodyweight dip, makes a better accessory movement. So you tell me which one builds more chest. Well, I guess it depends on what you're doing with your training. I think we should pick the best tools for the job inside the context of our training program. And we don't need to be so reductionist as, what's the best exercise for building this muscle? That's really a ludicrous concept in the grand scheme of things. We need to be using the best tools possible, and sometimes we have to rotate those tools at different points in our training. Right? Not the answer you wanted, though, but it's the answer you're going to get. In short, bench press, better primary exercise. Dips is a better secondary exercise for putting more meat on your pecs and triceps if you need a supplemental lift. All right, next question. Hi, Jason. Could an explosive box squat replace a power clean in a novice program for whatever reason? You need a coach to teach you both, so why not do an explosive squat instead of the power clean? Thanks in advance. Well, the power clean works more muscles, right? Box squat doesn't train your upper body to be explosive. You're going to need some sort of pull. So I would say maybe a combination of a box squat and a sumo deadlift for speed. That could replace it. And you don't need as much coaching. You don't necessarily need a coach to teach you both, but coaching can help. I get a lot of clients who can grasp both of these very easy. I get other clients that take weeks and weeks to learn to do either. I have clients who, even after months, still have to have their box squat coached. They have to be told to stop rocking the box, right? I'm talking people have been doing it 2 months, and they send me their form check videos. So, I guess it depends upon the person. But learning a power clean without coaching, best of luck with that. And that's always the point that I raise when it comes to the Olympic list versus these other things that we've come up with for speed work. The reason the other things work better for speed work is they don't require the same degree of coaching. there's a very steep learning curve for the clean and the snatch. And that steep learning curve takes away from your explosive training while you're learning them. It's not that they can't help you develop explosiveness. They absolutely can. Right? I don't think anyone really disagrees with that, even the starting strength guys who teach the clean. They understand that, and they don't even believe explosiveness is particularly trainable. So we come over to the point, if you're asking, could someone do it? That's exactly what we do. That's what I use for my people. Now, even better, speed box squats with bands, speed box squats with chains, speed sumo pulls with bands. There you go. There's your power training. Now, I think that can replace your clean and your snatch for them. Absolutely. In fact, I'll go so far as to say that I think they're superior. I think that they're a superior tool for that, not only because of the learning curve, but the different forces involved. So if you want to get explosive, you need to have dynamic effort days. I mean, if your goal is to get really, really explosive, you need to do speed bench, speed boxes, speed pulls, right? You need to utilize those, along with weighted plyometrics, right? If you're trying to get really and truly explosive. That's what I recommend. But by that same token, you also need to work on just your compensatory acceleration. Novice lifters can get more explosive just by learning to use compensatory acceleration and to quit leaving force in the tank on the first rep. Because novice lifters have a bad habit of taking a 5-rep set and not pushing hard till it gets heavy. Being lazy with the first 2 or 3 reps, even on a 5-rep set. All right, that's their problem. And that's not good. And that's a habit people need to get out of. I understand being a little bit lazy on accessory work when you're doing 4 or 5 sets at 10. But your big lifts, there's no room for that. It really isn't. You need to be powerful on everything. That'd be your first step. And then you implement this other stuff. All right, next question and last question of the week. So since cortisol and stress kills gains, what are ways to minimize stress and anxiety? I'm in school, so an ongoing battle, and I've been able to stall at best. But here's times where I go to the gym and my strict press is significantly weaker than other days. No, cortisol does not kill gains. Dramatically elevated cortisol is necessary to gain muscle. Okay, we need to make that very, very clear. If you do not produce an enormous cortisol response from your training, you will not gain any muscle at all. None. Zero. And a larger cortisol response from training in meta-analysis has been found to cause larger amounts of muscle growth. Okay, they're correlated. So your statement's incorrect. Elevated cortisol hours after you train or when you're laying around resting at night kills your gains. So just need to clarify that. Now, the end product is the same. You need to minimize stress and anxiety. But you need to minimize psychological stress. Minimizing physical stress is going to cause less muscle growth. Minimizing physical stress would mean don't work out. Work out as little as possible. Man, avoid weights. Avoid anything hard. Just lay around and don't touch anything. That would lower stress. But that's not going to build muscle. So, we need stress management. You've got to learn to just sleep. You've got to learn to unwind. And this might be the case of where one of the few supplements I might say would help someone who's really struggling with that might be melatonin. And I'm not a big supplement guy, but if you need help sleeping at night, you need help unwinding at night, melatonin might help, 3 milligrams. Don't go over that dose. Turning off all your lights. Turning your phone off when you sleep other than for the alarm. Like when you get texts at night, you need to have your phone to where you don't pick it up and read it at 2 in the morning. You need quality sleep, quality rest. Turn off your electronics. Don't listen to the television. Turn that off. Kill all the lights in your room when you sleep. Sleep in the coolest room possible. If necessary, put a fan on you. If it's hot, put a fan on yourself if you can't get it cold enough. Cold, dark rooms when you sleep will give you the best rest. It will speed up recovery, lower stress levels. Okay, we've known this for many, 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 many years. This isn't anything new. You have to learn to unwind. You have to learn to let things go. You want to cut stress. Sure, you're in school. You're going to have stress from being in school. You have stress from work. Cut everyone else out of your life who's toxic. Right? There's a big one. That's one I've learned. You guys have watched me go through that in a toxic relationship. You cut those toxic people out. I don't keep friends around who do anything that's toxic or annoying to me. If a person is even remotely annoying to me, they can't be in my life. Outside of if they're not required. People say, well, your family, yeah, you can cut your family out too. Okay? You can totally cut them out. You can cut them out. Hell, my dad cut out every member of my family from his life. He didn't have a single family member in his life. Nobody. He successfully did that. So, including his own brothers and sisters and his children. You can totally do that if you choose. I have family members I've cut out of my life. Cut toxic people out of your life. Cut people out of your life who stress you out. Anybody you know who has any sort of substance abuse problem, cut them out of your life. You don't need them. Get rid of that crap. Cut your stress down. Get rid of all this stuff. Like if you're worried about stress, don't add extra stressors that you don't need to. Right? That includes friends, family, relationships. Only keep people in your life who are positive towards your goals. And that might be a harsh thing to say, but I would say if you're talking about really being serious about minimizing stress and anxiety, which is going to give you better gains, a longer life, better health, then you just need to get rid of those bullshit people. Right? They need to go. You got no room for that stuff. My advice, get your rest, get your sleep, learn to relax, learn to chill. If you have to, learn to meditate, listen to some easy listening music before bed. Cut out pre-workouts. Pre-workouts will kill your gains. You're going to need steroids if you take them just to offset the negatives to your sleep. The reason steroids and pre-workouts go hand in hand, right? Cut that crap out too. You don't need the extra stress. Get rid of it. No stims in the evening. No caffeine. Nothing like that later in the day. Same thing. People who take pre-workouts in an afternoon workout, and then they wonder why they're not ultra jacked and strong without gear. Well, there's your problem. That's half your problem right there. Cut that crap out. There you go. Those are my answers. All right, guys. Well, that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.